What is up, everyone? It is Coach Kam here, and today we have a really important video that you're not going to see most channels covering. Today, we're going to talk about the 6 reasons why every football player should be having a daily journaling practice. Now, you're not going to see too many coaches talking about this type of thing because they're talking about how you can get faster, how you can improve your touch, which is all great stuff. But the stuff that you're doing at home in your bedroom, getting your mind right, is what's going to dictate the rest of your outcomes. So it's important that we have a daily journaling practice, and I'm going to tell you why. The 6 reasons why it's important. Okay, so we're going to crack into it right now. And this is in no particular order, but number 1, it gets everything out of your head. So generally speaking, if you don't have maybe a meditation or a mindfulness practice in place or a journaling practice, you're going to have a cacophony of noise happening in your head. Thoughts, anxieties, fears, thinking about moments in the past, moments in the future. Rarely are we in the present moment. And when you journal daily, you get all this chaos that's happening in your head. And maybe it's affecting your ability to perform on the field or to practice or to train consistently with discipline. It gets all that chaos out on paper. Okay, so I like to say journaling, it's like, imagine if you have your email inbox, it has 1,000 unread emails in it. By journaling and getting these thoughts out on paper, we're starting to empty that mental inbox. Okay, one by one, we're just getting all those thoughts out on paper. And putting your words on paper allows you to just clear out your mind, basically. There's something about just putting your words on paper that allows you to get the thoughts out. But more than that, then to also see them and look at them and see them more objectively. Because when they're in our head, they feel like they're us. They feel like they're really serious and intense. But when we get them on paper and we read about them, we can say, oh, that's not true. That's what I'm thinking. Those are the words that are going on in my head. And then we can look at them from a third person perspective and come to better conclusions about if they are real threats or not real threats. So let's put that into context for you. You know, you could think, I've been training so hard. I had a bad game yesterday. I'm never gonna work. This is never gonna work. I suck. John never trains, and he played so much better than me, and the coach loves him. And you start thinking all these crazy thoughts, negative spirals, and you write that in your journaling, and then you look at it and you read it, and you think, oh, well, that was actually just one bad game. Last week, the week before, I had an amazing game. The week before that, I also had a good game. So that was just one data point, one point of reference. But your mind, because it only operates in the now, it can go and spiral downwards, especially if you have these negative thought patterns. And when you put them on paper, then you can see them more objectively. Number 2, journaling is absolutely necessary for goal setting. So sitting down, understanding what your goals are, understanding what the time horizon is for those goals. Are they realistic? How are you going to achieve those goals? It's extremely important to write those down. And then to kind of track how you are progressing towards those goals through actually writing it down. It sounds simple and dumb, but it works. So if you're a striker or a forward and you want to score 10 goals by the end of the season, writing down that goal and having that top of mind, it's going to keep you in the headspace of when games come, you're trying to score goals, as opposed to other non-related things such as not look stupid. Right? People have this fear of, it's so common, especially for athletes, of not messing up, of not looking dumb, of not getting yelled at. That's a lot of what performance anxiety is, as opposed to helping the team win, being competitive, wanting to do what is required in your respective duty. So in this case, in this example, score goals. When we write down our, this is getting very convoluted in terms of the wording, but when you write down your goal of scoring more goals, it becomes very apparent that that's what you're working towards. And if you don't write it down daily, how you're moving towards that goal, you can lose track of that. So it's so important to write down, be as specific as possible, try to work around SMART goals. If you guys are familiar with that acronym, try to write SMART goals. If you're not familiar, look it up. But yeah, journaling daily is very important for moving towards your goals. Number 3, journaling will keep you on track. It will keep you on path in spite of inevitable obstacles. So every single player, I don't care if you are Cristiano Ronaldo or you are just starting your journey, you're going to face loss, rejection, doubt. It's inevitable. Every single player faces it in their career. Achieving success as a player is about being able to navigate these obstacles over a period of time. So it's more than just, oh, I train really hard, but I have this issue of I train hard for 3 months and then I go through something, I don't know if it's a burnout, but I kind of lose focus for 2 months. I'm training, but I'm not training with the right intent for 2 months. And then I get this surge of motivation, and then I'm back on it for 2 months, and then I fall off it for 2 months. That's such a common thing. And that is a byproduct of not journaling. Because what happens is if we don't have focus and intent, and we're not deliberate with our training, we can sort of lose focus during periods. So we can be really dialed in for a few weeks, a few months, but then we kind of, we dial down ever so slightly. And don't get me wrong, there are definitely periods where you need to just switch off. Maybe it's the off season, and for like 1 or 2 months, you just need to maybe do some light jogging, some light work, but you need to switch off emotionally and physically. Allow yourself to recharge and then come back with full intention. But let's be honest, if you're a serious player, if you have high ambitions, for at least like 9 months of the year, you should be pretty serious with your training. Okay? 9, even 10 months of the year. So having that journaling practice in place is going to allow you to stay on path in spite of inevitable obstacles which will come in your way, such as not being picked for the starting lineup for a few weeks in a row, or maybe picking up a little niggling injury. How do you deal with that? When you journal and you get all these emotions out on paper, you see them objectively, and then you say, this is how I'm going to progress forward in spite of these obstacles. It's so incredibly powerful. Okay, so that's number 3. Number 4, it will allow you to audit what your strengths and weaknesses are. And as a player who's on a trajectory to become a professional or a high-level player who gets recruited to play in college, you need to be constantly working on your strengths and, more importantly, working on your weaknesses and having the self-awareness to know what those are. So when you start journaling about your performance, about your games, and even about your training, you'll get a sense of what you're weak at and what you're strong at. And if you lack the ability to do that, you can, of course, ask teammates. And you should be asking teammates, asking coaches, asking parents, asking peers, reviewing your video footage, and knowing where you're physically, technically, tactically weak. Do you have issues around confidence and mindset? What is it that you need to be working on? And having a journaling practice allows you to anchor and hone in on those weaknesses and then constantly working to improve them on your individual training or even in your team training. So journaling is so important to knowing where your strengths lie, where your weaknesses lie, and then being on that path to working on those strengths and weaknesses in perpetuity. Okay, that means consistently, nonstop, not taking too much time off. Okay, There is a time to rest and recharge, but we can't be doing it whimsically. In season, we kind of lose our focus. That's not going to help us. We need to be dialed in, focused. That's what separates amateurs from professionals. Number 5, having a journaling process in place is going to set you apart from other players. Why is that the case? Because most players are not journaling. They are allowing their motivation to be dictated by the throes of their current states, of their current feelings of motivation and determination and discipline, as opposed to having a structure around it. And journaling allows you to have that structure and that implementation of how I'm moving towards my goals and how I'm overcoming my obstacles and how I'm knowing what my strengths and weaknesses are and everything that we've talked about here. It's going to set you apart, and it's going to help you build a practice that is going to set you apart from other players, because other players, most of them, they're not doing a journaling practice daily. And so this is how you'll be able to stay on track, train with intent, and ultimately, in the long term, if you do this long enough, help you succeed. And lastly, number 6, journaling daily. When you do it long enough, it's going to help to build a beneficial habit that's going to help reinforce structure and discipline in your life. And that's what you need as a player. You need structure and discipline with your training, with your nutrition, with your mindfulness practice, your meditation, and of course with your journaling. So if you journal daily in the morning, every day for 10 minutes, it just starts to become something that you do by default. And now you're building the habit of creating habits. Okay, we're getting a little bit meta, but you show up every day, you journal, and in time you start creating these new neural pathways of journaling is a thing that you do. And just the way that humans are built, we are creatures of habit. So you're going to start doing it by default. And there is literally, as the Brits would say, there's only upside to journaling. I haven't read any piece of literature or seen any article that says journaling is bad for you. Every high achiever in every domain, not every, that's a big statement, but a lot have journaling practices in place. So, and they do it daily, BTW. They do it daily. And I remember Matthew McConaughey, obviously not a football player, but a very successful actor. He said, he wrote a book recently and he was doing this whole podcast gambit. And he said how important his journaling practice is for him, and that it's actually journaling during the good times that's the hardest thing, because journaling during the bad times is easy because it's like you're doing therapy for yourself. But journaling during the good times, you don't feel like you need to be journaling because you're like, everything's good. But that's why you need to be consistent with your journaling. I journal every single day, every morning, and I also journal in the evening. And I have a very specific journaling practice that I use, which I'm going to talk about in just a second. But journaling there's only upside to it. So to build that habit is only going to be serving you, not only as the player, as the athlete, but as the individual, to also help you with other areas of your life. Because our life circumstance, our thoughts and our mental states and our emotions are going to dictate our actions and behaviors. So doing a daily journaling practice, it's like seeing a therapist for yourself. Very powerful stuff. So now the question is all journaling created equal? And I'd be willing to go out on a limb and say it's not. The real power of journaling comes when you have a journaling process and structure in place, specifically one that has the ability to tap into your unconscious mind. So for those of you who don't know, psychology, theories of the mind, our habits, beliefs, our identity, our emotions, they are rooted in our unconscious mind, which means it's not in your conscious mind. Your conscious mind is everything that you're hearing, thinking, seeing in your waking life. Your unconscious mind is everything that's beneath the hood of the car. And a lot of times as a player, when you have the inability to be consistent with your training or to be confident in games, or you have a lot of fear and anxiety, a lot of these emotions are coming from your unconscious mind. Let me rephrase that. All of them are coming from your unconscious mind. And these are adapted through the experiences that we have had in life. And in some cases, they serve us well. So for instance, not to cross the street if there is traffic coming your way, because if you get hit by a car, you are going to die. Okay? Your brain just kind of knows from experience and intuitively that car is big and a lot of mass and it's moving fast, and if it hits me, I'll die. So it has a very natural response coming from the unconscious mind to emotionally control your behavior so you don't walk in front of a car and die. But if you are scared to go talk to, an attractive member of the opposite sex, that is a maladaptive response. Or if you're scared, if you lose the ball in a game and you're going to get yelled at, and that's affecting your ability to play and perform to your highest potential. That is a maladaptive emotional response. And that all comes from experiences that we've had. Maybe you had an overprotective parent. Maybe you had a teacher who yelled at you because you spilled the glue. I always like to allude to that example. Your teacher yelled at you because you spilled the glue. And you think that if you make a mistake and you get yelled at, your fear is that you're going to get ostracized from the tribe, because in our evolutionary past, we were tribal animals. And getting ostracized from the tribe actually meant death. It was the difference between life or death. And we have that built in and ingrained in our unconscious mind. But it doesn't help us on the field, right? So we need to be able to overcome that. So a journaling practice that allows us to tap into the unconscious mind and rewire our circuitry and create new beliefs and build confidence on the field and build discipline and consistency with our training to constantly improve our technical abilities and our fitness is so incredibly important. And the right journaling practice will help you get there. And what it will do is it's gonna give you a clean slate in your brain. It's gonna remove all these non-serving neural pathways and replace them with the right ones. So this, of course, it takes time, and it takes a very specific type of journaling practice that taps into the unconscious mind. And luckily, I got you, okay? And that's why we have the Fitball Mindset Academy. And that's what the Fitball Mindset Academy is all about. It is a system that's been developed by some of the best sports psychologists in the world to help Olympic athletes win gold medals in the past. But the Fitball Mindset Academy has been adapted specifically with the modern day soccer player in mind. So just to give you an overview, it basically comes with the 3M journaling framework, which is the Mindset Matters Most framework, which is a daily journaling system with 5 proven pillars, scientifically proven to rewire your unconscious mind so that you can play with freedom in games and you can train with discipline and you can overcome your non-serving beliefs. But of course, it comes with more than just that. It also comes with pre-match routines and rituals to get you in the right headspace, post-game analysis, how you can analyze your games and understand your strengths and weaknesses so you can constantly improve. It also has a full section on I call it mindset level 2, which is all about leadership, character, developing a winner's mindset. There's constantly new modules that are being updated in that sequence, along with an amazing online community where you can ask questions and engage with other players. So I got you in that regard. So reach out to me if you're interested in getting involved in the Fitball Mindset Academy. Otherwise, just get out pen and paper or do it on your computer, okay? And just start writing out your words, your thoughts. Get them out on paper and start doing it daily, even if it's just 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes a day. You won't see the results instantly. It will take time. And also, if you don't have the right journaling practice in place, it might even take you longer to really start experiencing those transformations that you're looking for. But it's doable. It's all doable. Okay, folks? So that's the message for today. Hope you enjoyed. I think this was a wonderful lecture. And I think this is going to do so much benefit for players out there, because I don't think a lot of players know or understand the importance of mindset and of a journaling practice. All players are focusing on how can I become faster, how can I become stronger, how can I improve my dribbling abilities. Well, you just do that stuff more often. But if you can't translate those skills into games, which is one of the biggest issues that players have, then none of that individual training matters. And that's why mindset matters most and is so important, okay? So that's the big takeaway from today, guys. Hope you enjoyed this this video. Subscribe to my channel, like this video, whatever, all that stuff. But most importantly, above all that, get involved. See you soon. Coach Kam, over and out.